This is how I realized I am not my thoughts. And that's when my reality changed. See, the problem is identifying with the mind because it ruins your reality like it ruined mine, right? I had a crazy mental health condition called psychosis where my thoughts were so loud, I couldn't taste my favorite food. I couldn't hear other people speak. My mom was like, "Holy crap, I think I lost my son at the and I'm never going to get him back." She was scary. But I was able to get out of it naturally, right? I took a bunch of yoga, breathwork, meditation courses. I spent a lot of time in silent retreats, learning spiritual podcasts, and really understanding what the true nature of the self is. Because the benefits of it is changing your reality, right? I even danced for the Detroit Pistons. I moved to Chicago for a year, lived in the 53rd floor penthouse looking down at the bean. And now I moved to San Diego, my dream city. So I was changing my life and getting everything I wanted. I was like, if I can do it, other people can too, right? So I work with an entrepreneur who had gone through a 5 year relationship breakup and now he's making triple his income, right? Work with a war veteran. Now his system is finally balanced because he had PTSD before. Worked with a girl who had brain surgery who completely lost sense of reality, similar to me. And now she found herself and moved into her dream apartment. And what I'm going to go over with you is just three things, right? The first one is realizing that the mind is just a tool, it's not who you are. The second one is realizing that your body reacts to every thought, whether it's positive or negative. The third thing, which is probably the most important, if you're not your thoughts, who are you? What is your true self and how can you get to it? So stick around till the end. Let's get right into it. So, the mind is just a tool, it's not your identity. See, when my thoughts were racing 24/7, like for 4 to 5 months straight, I believed every negative thought that came to me, right? Statements like, I'm a piece of shit, nothing's ever gonna work out. But then my intuition, my inner voice, the voice that guides you, it told me step away so you can look at your thoughts. Now, here's a problem with actually identifying with your thoughts, right? Now, before we even get into the problems, this is what I felt, and this is probably what other people feel who are too attached to their knowledge, to their intellect, right? The analysis paralysis, right? People be losing their hairs and getting gray hairs because they're so addicted to their mind. So, these are the consequences of over identification with your thoughts, right? You have physical tension, right? Because all your awareness is in your head, your body starts tightening up. You have a racing mind. You're emotionally volatile because you take everything too literally that comes in your head. That was me, right? You have decision paralysis because there's just so many options coming to you at once. There's a huge disconnection from your body, right? Because you can't feel. You're constantly in your head. And there's a fear of silence, right? Which is probably the most tricky. And but this is the actual problem for why people feel these symptoms, right? It's because they're trapped in mental loops. I'll get to explaining what mental loops are. Then there's this loss of inner peace, right? And you start living reactively, right? When you live reactively, all these things come up and you don't even know who you are. I had a huge identity crisis. I didn't even know if I even wanted to finish college in my major, which was supply chain management and Michigan State University, #1. Let's go green. And then there's emotional exhaustion, bro. Like you're just tired of not knowing what to feel. And when something does come up, you're like, shit, I don't know how to process this emotion. And so this is the framework that got me out of it. Okay. So I like drawing this eye. Okay. The eye, let's call this awareness. Okay. Because that's who we are at the end of the day. We are observing our mind. Okay. I'm just going to draw a brain. Hopefully you can understand that this is a brain. Right? This is our brain that houses thoughts. And we witness our mind which witnesses the world. Okay. Hopefully you can tell that's the world, right? And so we are something that can perceive the mind, right? Because there's like this rule, right, which is if you can observe it, then you are not it. Okay, I'm like, that's interesting, because I can see, right? I can see my thoughts. I can also see my emotions. Therefore, I am not it, right? But then how do I take a step out of it, right? And also, what happens if I get thrown into it, right? So this is what happens when there's a bunch of tornado like thoughts in the mind, right? Let's say, we get tornado like thoughts. This is a thought bubble. Okay. Usually the tendency is to get sucked into it, right? Your awareness is fully in there. And that's when all these things start occurring, a racing mind, and then you start feeling emotionally volatile. Because let's take a look at your body. That tension is all up in your head, and your awareness, this is the movable awareness, right? Let's call this attention. Right? You can take your attention to your feet right now. You can feel your kneecaps. Take your attention to both of your elbows, right? You can move your awareness. But when the mind is constantly running, our attention is fully over here, right? Which takes away awareness from our heart, from our lungs, from our stomach, right? From our intestines, okay? And when that happens long enough, all these symptoms start occurring, right? Especially physical tension, because you're giving so much attention to your mind, right? And the hardest part is realizing that, this was there from a previous video. The hardest part is stepping away from this tornado and looking at it from a third person perspective, right? You want to look at your thoughts, right? Like clouds moving. You want to not be in the cloud, but observe the cloud, okay? Because then you will really get a sense for what this is, right? What the hell is your awareness? Now, moving on, your body reacts to every single thought, positive or negative. See, what happened to me was my body was breaking down because of emotionally charged thoughts, right? Emotionally charged thoughts led to my face becoming swollen. I had tension everywhere, back pain, some random stomach pains, like a very tight heart. And then I was like, wait a second. My inner voice was carrying me. It was like, step out, bro. Step out. You're not these thoughts. These thoughts are all just stories. You are actually the witness and experiencer of those stories, right? So now I always like doing this experiment. Now, thoughts, and then there's emotion, but we'll get to it too. So now what kind of thoughts are there? There's Intrusive thoughts, when you're standing from a tall building and your mind tells you, yo, what if you jump, right? Then we can go to the past. We can go to the future. We can problem solve. We can analyze, judge. And let's say because you're tired, because of your past conditioning, all these are happening negatively. Right? They're all happening negatively. So what happens is, based on your balance, your ability to not be shaken, you can perceive some thoughts as, oh, it's just a fly, I'm just going to swat it away. But in my case, I wasn't able to do that. I didn't have the balance or the energy to do that. And what happens is, thought plus emotion equals belief. I was believing every single thought. That's what caused the mind identification, right? And these thoughts were about my future, right? I'm too stupid. I'll never graduate college. What will people think of me? They think I'm crazy from now on, right? Oh shit, that means I am crazy. I must be really crazy, right? Because my mind is crazy, therefore I'm crazy. Do you see? And this is what happens to the body, right? Going a little deeper. So let's say, wow, chunky neck, right? I'm just going to draw the same thing again. We have the heart, we have the lungs, we have the stomach, and then we have our intestines. So when our awareness is only in the tornado of the mind, right? And by the way, thoughts are electric, emotion is magnetic. Okay, we are electromagnetic beings. That looks pretty bad. Let me redraw this. Okay. So we are electromagnetic beings. So when our awareness is fully only on electricity, we cannot feel the magnetism of our heart. Okay? So it starts getting tight. Then our lungs, it gets hard to breathe, right? We start breathing shallow. Right? Then we start having stomach problems, right? Fucking butterflies. And then also digestion problems like IBS if this continues long enough, right? And so another reason why negative thoughts enter the mind is because low energy. In a spiritual sense, when our battery, let's say our battery is at 100%, right? It's easy to be positive and happy, right? But let's say it's at 10%, right? That's why people get cranky, right? And when you're cranky, it's easy for this guy, right? It's easy for this guy to mess with your mind with devilish thoughts. And so it's easy to swat away some thoughts when you have a lot of energy. But you're going to be cooked with a lot of negatively charged thoughts when you have low energy. And the thing is, what do you actually care about, right? What is going to poke your buttons? Because when you're tired, these thoughts are going to come up. that are negative. So if I were to say Star Wars is ass or Harry Potter sucks, does that affect you? Or do you have no emotions towards that? Now, if you were to say Avatar The Last Airbender is bad, now that would affect me, bro, because that show holds a special place in my heart. And if you're watching this, you probably have seen it, and that probably, holds a good place in your heart too. If you haven't, what are you doing? That is a spiritual and mental health masterclass, right? And so, on a deeper note, right, we can swat away those thoughts, right? If you offend Avatar The Last Airbender, whatever, bro, it's whatever. If you offend Kobe Bryant, then he's my favorite basketball player. I can brush it away, bro. It's fine. But on a very deeper level, every single thing that we say to ourselves affects us, right? I read this book called How to Think, right? And it was very academic, a lot of big words. I didn't really get to it. But the author said if there's one thing that you get away from this book, he said, be scrupulously, I'm going to butcher the spelling, scrupulous, okay, just ignore the spelling, scrupulously positive, right? Like I mentioned before, our thoughts are like electric, right? Thoughts equals electric, which is also data points, which is also info, right? And our magnetic body is reading every single thought, and our cells is taking this data and adapting to it, right? Also, why does it do that? Is because body can tell the difference between reality versus imagination. Okay? If you're hungry and I said, think of a pizza, just the juiciest pizza, perfectly sauced, just the right amount of toppings, right? Your mouth will start salivating and you'll start getting hungry. But in reality, there is no pizza, right? Same thing if you start getting sexual thoughts, right? Blood is going to start rushing down there, even though there's nobody in sight, okay? So similarly, same thing with the way you talk to yourself, right? It affects the cells in our body. So I was saying a bunch of things, like I hate myself. I can't believe I got myself to this kind of mental health condition. What will people think of me? Will I ever succeed? I don't even know who I am. I guess I'll never know who I am, right? Oh, this is so common. I don't even want to say this. I hear so many people say this often, right? Or just swearing with a lot of intensity. You can just be like, shit, man, this sucks. Or you could be like really intense about it. Or being pessimistic. This is not going to work. This is really hard. I'm so shit. I'm so bad. No. Right? What kind of person says these things, right? A person that is stressed. Okay? I was fully stressed. Now, what happens to the body, to our cells, when we are stressed? It releases stress chemicals, cortisol and adrenaline. Okay? Now, keep that shit up, right? Keep that shit up. Let's say you're stressed. Now, I need you to lock in right now because this is the key to all mental, emotional, and physical problems. Stress creates cortisol and adrenaline. Okay? That leads to inflammation of your body, right? Because you're so in your head and all these bad chemicals are being pumped, it increases the temperature of your intestines, of your heart. It starts working overtime, right? Keep that up, it creates disease, right? And you know what happens if disease is there for a long time. Look at your relatives that are old. Look at some of your friends that have some kind of health condition. It's brought on because of this, bro. It's not just about work pressure. It's not just about some drama that's happening in their lives. It happens at a molecular level. It's called oxidative stress. Okay, this requires a whole nother video, but basically you lose energy from your body, right? But there's good news. We can replace our negative self-talk with positive self-talk. Okay? Now, what is positive self-talk? It simply looks like, I suck at this, but that's okay. This is a very tough situation, but I will learn. I am happy for what I have now. I am grateful for my privileges. I know I can do it. One thing that really got me through that mental health situation was saying, if I can get through this, I can get through anything, right? And just words of encouragement, like, come on, get up, let's go. Like speaking to yourself like a best friend, right? And again, gratefulness for your past. And so there are two things you can get away from positive, two kind of formulas to speak to yourself positively, right? The first one is super easy. You say the truth as it is right now, even if the situation sucks, and then you follow it, but that's okay, right? Let's say you're unskilled, right? You can end it with I will learn, right? I will is actually really power and underused. Even I'm barely used. I'm starting to use it more now, right? It's so powerful to stay true to your goals and conviction, right? And the final one, which requires a master lesson of its own, but I need you to lock in again, is gratitude. Okay? Gratitude is the super emotion, right? Superpower emotion. Why? Because stress releases adrenaline and cortisol, which are stress chemicals. This releases immunoglobulin, right? Which increases the strength of your immune system, right? And it turns you into the rest and relax mode. Okay? If you want to know what mode this puts you in, right? Being stuck in your head, it creates the fight or flight response. Fight or flight response creates this bad boy right here. Okay? That's called survival mode. Your body literally thinks it's an attack because it's believing every single thought in your mind. Okay? Fight survival mode, keep it long enough, it leads to inflammation. Inflammation leads to disease. Disease leads to you know what. So, to combat this, we can easily do it with gratitude. Okay? Because it increases your immune system strength, it puts you in the rest and relax mode, which helps you recover your all problems, right? And on a deeper note, it literally presses your genes to activate the right genes, right? And in a spiritual sense, it puts you in a mode to receive, right? When are you grateful? When you receive things, right? Why don't we just feel grateful first, right? So I'm going to give you the very first action item here, okay? Which is to start gratitude journaling, okay? What is gratitude journaling? You simply write 3 to 5 things you're grateful for every single day, okay? 3 to 5 things in full sentences every single day, and feel the emotion, right? Feel the emotion of gratitude while you write it, right? You will feel a difference in 4 days, right? Immunoglobulin will be released in 4 days. So your body just knows that you're not capping around. You're not lying to yourself, okay? This is the key. And you better catch yourself whenever you're pessimistic and replace it with sentences that, I'm an asshole, but I will learn to be nicer. I suck at this, but that's okay, right? And gratitude journaling. And eventually throughout the day, you can start being like, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, I'm grateful for you, I'm grateful for life, right? And your body will slowly start to recover, right? It takes a long time for your body to get inflamed and stressed and stay this way, right? All this bullshit. But you also have the power to release healing chemicals. Now, that's the danger of identifying with the mind. Do you see how big of a problem this is? And people are casually doing it. And we live in a society where the intellect is put on a pedestal, right? The more information you shove in your head and you start identifying with it, like, I'm an intellectual, right? Look at these old ass white people, bro. Especially this, scholars, right? Their face is all like raisin because it's just inflamed, right? Yogis, look at yogis, bro. They just look so flexible and young and happy. It's because most of their attention is in their body. Now, how do you connect with their body and your true self, right? So I was stuck in the fight or flight mode with shallow breathing until I remembered pranayama. My parents put me into Art of Living courses. And Art of Living is an organization that teaches yoga, breathwork, meditation, how to deal with difficulty, mental and emotional difficulties in life. I've been going since I was 6, right? But in college, bro, I got, exposed to the matrix. Of course, I was like a degenerate. And I had to revisit the basics of yoga, breathwork, and meditation. Specifically breathwork, because it's the most powerful. It instantly zapped me back into my body, right? And so I want to break down how people breathe when they are stuck in their mind, right? So we have our lungs, right? The symptoms of being stuck in your brain is tight chest, cold fingers, shallow breathing. I guess diaphragm should also be there, right? And a weak diaphragm. Ugh, you get it. And so the funny thing is, our breath is two things. It's a signal and an indicator, right? It is a signal. Sorry, these two are the same thing. It's a signal, indicator. These two are the same. What I really mean is control panel, right? It's an indicator for your awareness. Are you present or are you stuck in your head? And how do you tell? These things, right? If you're feeling these things, you know that you're stuck in your head. You're probably in your head a lot. But we can also change the fact that we're so stuck in our head by using our breath. Because our breath is the control panel to our nervous system. Our brain is just a bunch of neurons. Our eyes, a bunch of neurons, right? Our entire nerves, right? It's just like pathways for electricity to go through, right? And if so much is stuck over here, you're going to start losing the sensitivity and blood flow to your body, right? This is where pranayama comes in, right? What does pranayama mean? Breath work. Why? because it controls the nervous system. Okay? And so here are some things that I'm going to type up really fast that helps you understand how the breath works, right? When we inhale, right? Let's make this bigger. See, when we inhale, this is what happens. We take in oxygen, and oxygen is a drug. So our body has to process oxygen. And when our body heats up, we start thinking again. Too much thought. So O2, right? It energizes the body, right? Wow, this font is really freaking big. I think I'm just going to go like this. Okay. So it's O2. It energizes the body. There's more tension on your lungs. There's also when there's like danger, right, or perceived danger, right, we go like right, just to gather energy, right? And a lot of people, oh, and also breathing through the mouth, right? Inhaling through the mouth is way too much oxygen for the body to process. And a lot of people are breathing through their mouth, right? Which is way, like, it creates more thoughts, basically, right? But then we have exhales. This is where exhales come to the rescue, right? Stick with me, I'm almost done. Oh my God. We have exhales. With exhales, it relaxes the body. It increases CO2. What do you think sighs are? It's a relaxation mechanism. Many people can't exhale deeply, right? We want to exhale longer than we inhale, right? That's the sign of like a safe environment for the body and the mind. And so, how do we train this? How do we train to become better at exhaling rather than inhaling? Now, I'm going to end the video with this, right? The thing that saved my life, the breathing that saved my life, is the Wim Hof method. Okay? It trains your breath to exhale and hold up to 1 minute and 30 seconds. When have you ever done that? Right? Remember, this energizes your body. It also heats up the body. Too much inhales heats up the body. Heating up is inflammation. It means more thought. This guy right here cools the body. Okay, exhales. And so the Wim Hof method, you can look it up on YouTube, right? There's a guided breathing where Wim Hof, the man himself, guides you through the breathing. There's also a tutorial that you might want to watch first. He tells you exactly how to breathe, and you breathe in through the mouth to create tension and you exhale to cool down, which shuts up the mind, right? This is the whole goal, right? As the mind becomes quiet, you start becoming aware of the witness, your identity, your true identity, right? Now, if you've been watching this far, like, thank you so much, right? Thank yourself so much, because you're truly interested in understanding the mind, the body, your emotions, reality, how to bend it, how to change it. And it really starts with looking inward. And if you want some help with how to transform your life mentally, emotionally, physically, all at once, financially, it's really about going inward. And I've helped others, like I said in the beginning of this video. And if you want some personal help so we can customize a way for you to just absolutely become a new person, applying the link below, right? Everybody works a little differently, and we'll find that customized path for you so you can become self-realized, right? Under self-improvement, there's self-realization. I think that is so freaking important. I'm on my journey. I'm just a couple steps ahead of you, right? I'm not like a guru or anything. So clearly this is really important to you if you've stayed this long. Apply, and let's get on a call and chat. And I just want to end the video by saying, remember, man, you are not your mind. You are not your thoughts. You are not your body. You are not even your beliefs. You are something that is observing all of this. And you deserve every ounce of happiness. Never forget what you really are. You are infinity. You are the divine. You are the creator of your universe. Always remember that. Peace.